It's a double parashah this week, so I guess that means I need to talk twice as fast. Just kidding. Parashat Behar finishes up with mitzvot, commandments, and we see some that we've already heard about, not praying to idols, keeping Shabbat. But Parashat Behar also starts out talking about Shabbat. The difference is that the Shabbat mentioned at the beginning of the parashah is a Shabbat for the land of Israel itself. And it looks different than your Shabbat. First of all, instead of 6 days of work and then a day of Shabbat off, it's about working the land for 6 years, planting it, weeding it, harvesting, and then letting the land rest for that 7th year, which means, you guessed it, Shabbat for the land. It's called Shnat HaShemitah, or the Shemitah year. If you're thinking, well, no farming means no food, which means we're going to be very hungry. Well, the land keeps growing stuff in those 7th years, and you're allowed to eat whatever happens to grow. In fact, everyone gets to come and pick from the field and eat. And God promises that in year number 6, the land is going to grow several times as much, enough to really provide for everyone, all the way through to the harvest at the end of the 8th year. And that 6 years on and 1 year off cycle continues for a total cycle of 7 cycles. That means 7 times 7 years leading up to the 50th year, which is called Shnat HaYovel, or the Jubilee year. But it's not only the land that gets to rest. Slaves that were owned at that time would go free in the 50th year, and the land that people would have sold would go back to the person who had sold it. As I said, Parashat Behar this week is paired up with another parashah, Parashiyot. And in this second parashah, we get a lot of very wonderful rewards, and also some kind of scary punishments. It's the sort of stuff that you're probably used to in your families. A lot of, if you're good, then good things are going to happen. But if you're bad, well, bad things are going to happen. Specifically, God describes the rewards for following the mitzvot. And God then describes the punishment for not following the mitzvot. And the rewards are good harvests, peace throughout the land. And the punishment for not doing the mitzvot? No rain, vicious animals, hunger, enemies that make life miserable. Yikes. It actually sounds pretty terrible. So, are the rewards and punishment meant to be exactly as they're described in the Torah? I don't know. What I do know is that we have rewards and consequences at home, in school, in the world in general. And all of that's usually a sign of how we're supposed to behave as a member of the family, or the school community, or the world. It's about what it takes to be part of a deeply committed relationship. And in a relationship, you generally get out of it what you put into it. If you don't listen to your friend and you don't do your part in the friendship, it pretty quickly stops being a friendship. It stops being a relationship. So maybe the idea that we should take away from this second one of the Parashiyot is the knowledge that we should trust that God is going to hold up God's end of the relationship. And so it's up to us to take care of our end of the bargain.